the DJI Pocket 3. Could you use this as your main YouTube studio camera? Well, in this video, I'm gonna switch to this camera in a moment to show you exactly what it looks like. I'm gonna run through the best settings you should use and some of the pros and cons before you buy yours or consider using it as a studio camera. So let's switch to this camera now and we'll see exactly what it looks like. Okay, we are using the DJI Pocket 3 right now in the new Editor's Keys Studio. And I'm not using any ND filters, but I have changed some manual settings. So I actually think this looks really, really nice. You know, it's not a cheap camera by any means, but I think it does look better than, say, an iPhone if you're filming. Now, of course, it's not gonna look as good as a full mirrorless camera, but actually I think it's very, very close. And if you get some good lighting, a nice bit of backlighting, I think your image can actually look very, very good out of this camera. Now, I've run through some pros and cons, so I'm gonna go through that in a moment. And I just wanna let you know, of course, I'm gonna film as much as I can using the Pocket 3 whilst I'm doing this video, so you can see exactly what this footage looks like. If you see any shots of the Pocket 3, I'll try and label them below. I might just take a few shots so you can see what I see with my iPhone. So let's go through some of the pros and cons. So number one is the great image quality. As I've said, I think this looks better than using your iPhone. The image is 4K, it's sharp, it's crisp. And what I like about the Pocket 3 is if you're an absolute newbie and you just want to get into YouTube, the image coming straight out of the camera is actually really, really nice. And I'll talk about that in a bit. But also you can film in 10-bit log, which I'm doing right now. That gives you the flexibility to color grade your footage and also add LUTs. So really gives you kind of the capabilities that you get from pro level cameras. Secondly, it's not a bulky camera at all. It's so easy to set up. You flip that little screen around and you're good to go. With other big bulky cameras, you have to plug a mic in, you have to get it set up, change some of the settings. I am literally just using the camera on a tripod and the microphone that comes with the creator pack. And I definitely think it's worth getting. So what do you think? The audio quality, the image quality? Simple as turning on and hitting record, and that's pretty much all I've done. Next up, some cameras do not have a front-facing or flip-out screen. Now, the Pocket 3 has two ways of viewing yourself. So number one, I'm looking at myself just using the little screen here below the Pocket 3's camera. Now, you've got to try and avoid looking at that when you're talking to camera. But secondly, you can use the DJI Nemo app. And that means you can record, you can change the settings directly from your phone. So if you're sitting much further back, I mean, I'm arm's length away from the Pocket 3, but if you're sitting further back, you can see exactly how you look on an iPad or an iPhone, and you can start record, you can change your settings and even move the gimbal around. So having that control is something that you don't even get with higher end cameras. Next up is versatile audio. So the audio you're hearing right now comes from this little, let's take it off. This comes from the microphone kit, which is included with the Pocket 3. I'm using the little magnet here to connect it to my shirt. Now, what's really versatile about the Pocket 3 is you can record directly from the Pocket 3 itself. So let's switch to that. Okay, you're listening to me now using the microphone built into the Pocket 3. So if you've just bought this camera without the Creator Kit, which comes with this wireless microphone receiver, which I've now turned off, this is what the audio quality sounds like. But I would definitely recommend using an external microphone like this. This is very good actually if you want to go around and vlog, or if you're moving around, because it will always be with you. But you can get better audio, and let's talk about that. Now we're back with the wireless microphone, and with the wireless microphone you can either connect it to your shirt like this using the little magnet, you can clip it on, or you can use a lavalier and actually connect that. And that's what I do most of the time. I'm wearing this today just to show you what it looks like, but you can connect a lavalier mic, pin that to your shirt or top, and then put the receiver in your pocket, and that gives you a nice, neat solution. Number three, in terms of audio, you can actually use the USB-C port on the back of the Pocket 3 and connect a high-quality USB microphone. Now, this is the Studio Series SL600 microphone from Editor's Keys, one of the best sounding microphones you can get, but why don't we plug it in and you can hear what that audio quality sounds like. So let's switch to that now. Okay, so the audio you're listening to right now is coming from the Studio Series SL600 USB microphone that I've plugged directly into the back of the Pocket 3. And this is another one of the beauties that you can't even do with some mirrorless cameras. You can just connect with a USB cable to the back of your Pocket 3 and get some really, really nice studio sounding vocals coming into your Pocket 3. So this is perfect if you're in a scenario like I am right now, where I'm just talking to camera. I could have this from a boom arm from the side. If I was live streaming on the desk, I could also have this on a desk stand. So if you're outside, I think this is maybe the better option. But if you're indoors, getting a shotgun microphone, sometimes, if you're in an echo room, doesn't work that well. So getting a microphone that you can be fairly close up to and getting really nice audio is super, super easy. You just plug in and you get audio like this. And I don't know if I've mentioned this, but this is something you can't do with a lot of mirrorless cameras. Yes, you can plug in external microphones, but you generally can't plug in USB microphones. And most of us either want a USB mic because it's something we can use with our Mac, our PC, our iPads. The 3mm microphones and stuff are good, but then you can only use it with your mirrorless camera. So these are a great option. Again, I'll put a link in the description below if you want to grab one of these. Okay, so next up, how do you get the best settings coming from your Pocket 3 if you want to use it like I'm using right now as a studio camera? So you can just use this out of the box with the standard shooting mode. I'm going to switch to that now and we can see how that looks. Okay, so this is the footage. This is just on standard mode. If you turn the camera on straight out of the box, this is the image quality that you are going to get. And if I'm honest, it looks a little over sharpened and a little bright. So I'll just grab my iPhone quickly and I'll show you the settings that you should change just to improve it. Even if you just don't want to go into the pro mode at all, just a couple of little settings will get this looking a lot better. So let's change those. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is just swipe across here from the right hand side. And this is just on the standard mode. Now there's something we're going to change here. We're going to change this image adjustment and we're going to take it down to -2 and the noise reduction to -2 as well. Just a subtle change, but you should see that this improves the image quality just a little bit and makes it look not over sharpened, not too much like some phone footage. Okay, so now we are recording just with those micro adjustments made, taking that sharpness down a little bit and taking that noise reduction down a little bit. I think this looks a lot better. And you could just film like this. I think the image quality looks great. It also means you don't need to color grade it. But now let's look at that pro mode and the settings that I would change to get the best looking footage. Okay, so to switch to pro mode, we want to swipe in again from this side and we're going to tap the pro button right there. Now these are the settings I use. I have exposure on manual, and if you can, going to focus there, I have it set to 1/50 and the ISO set between 50 and 100 if you're using some studio lights that I'm using right here. That's just a light. I'll put a link in the description. Now you can change this to auto if you want, but try and keep that at 1/50. You can get some ND filters as well, which we can talk about in another video, but that's the setting I would have there. For white balance, I have set this to auto white balance, but actually with the light I'm using, this should really be set to 5500. Now, because the Pocket 3 to me is kind of like one of those ease of use cameras, I don't actually mess about with the white balance too much because it does a pretty good job. But to be honest, if you've got a light like this where you know it's a 5500 Kelvin light, you can set that to 55 Kelvin, confirm that, and then the white balance will look nice. So that's another thing that you probably should change. Again, the color mode, you've got normal, you've got HLG, and you've got the one that I would use, which is D-Log-M. This will allow you to get the most dynamic range and apply the LUTs that we're going to talk about in a minute. Focus mode is continuous, and breathing compensation is off. Again, you can have that on if you want to. And the adjustments, again, -2 and -2. Okay, so we've made those adjustments and this is what it looks like in pro mode with those adjustments made. I think this looks a little bit better than, well, not a little bit, a lot better than the standard mode, but the standard mode still looks really good. There's not many cameras, to be honest, that you can get where the standard mode, the non-pro mode, looks that good out of camera. The Pocket 3 is one of those cameras, but you can take it to the next level with the pro mode and then making those tiny adjustments there. What do you think? The pro mode or the kind of beginner mode? What do you prefer the image looking like? Also, the Pocket 3 works beautifully with studio lights. I'm using a lantern softbox here, and then we've just got a couple of practical lights that you can see in the background here behind me and behind the monitor. It really works well. Some cameras will show a lot of noise in the image, and the Pocket 3 handles low light really, really well. Super important. You may have tried to use a GoPro or an Action 4, Action 5, and those cameras don't work very well at all as an indoor studio camera because they need a lot of light. The Pocket 3 actually works super well in daylight and low light. What I love about the Pocket 3 as well is you can also use it as an overhead camera. It's very light, so you can put it on an extra tripod. You can vlog with it, you can take it around, and you can even get product shots. So if you're doing a video where maybe you need to review a product or you're actually making products that you sell, you can use the Pocket 3 as a really good studio camera with a gimbal, of course, to get those really nice steady shots. Next up, a major pro, and why I like using this as a studio camera, is that you can use LUTs because of that 10-bit footage. Now, LUTs are kind of lookup tables. They are essentially looks, filters for your Pocket 3. Now, the one I'm using is the one-click fix from us at Editor's Keys, another shameless plug. I'll put a link in the description below. But also you can use some different looks. So I'll put some looks on now and I'll put the name of them below. And what these looks do, as you can see me running through some, is they can stylize your footage. So of course in the studio you'd probably want to use the one-click fix because it looks fairly natural but still nice and punchy. But if you're doing, say, a travel video, or you want to give your video a theme, maybe like that Hollywood look, you can use these LUTs to give your footage a really distinctive look. So whether you're going for that studio look, or you want to go for something that looks a bit more Hollywood, maybe you want that kind of nice orange look that you've seen in certain films, you can drag and drop these LUTs on. Again, I'll put a link in the description below. Of course, you don't have to get them from us. Other people do sell LUTs as well. And you don't even need to use a LUT if you don't want to. You can color grade and spend your time playing around with the footage, which is what I really enjoy doing. But I know some people just want to drag, drop and get good looking footage right out of the camera. Okay, we've switched angles to talk about some of the cons. Now, to be honest, there aren't that many cons, but these are some that you should consider. The Pocket 3 can overheat. It can run for quite easily an hour without overheating. So unless you're doing super long podcasts, I don't think many people are recording an hour straight. I very rarely do, so it's not a problem, but just something you should be aware of. Secondly, there's only a single USB-C port on the Pocket 3, which means if you do want to connect an external device or an external microphone, you can't power the Pocket 3 at the same time. Now, again, to get around this, there's two ways you can get around this. You could use the battery pack, which comes with the Creator Combo, which I think is definitely recommended. That's going to give you another couple of hours worth of use with the Pocket 3. And then secondly, you can just use a wireless mic if you need to. You could actually probably plug in an external mic to this. I think that works. I haven't tested that. You can definitely plug in a lapel anyway, and you could use this. So another great way of getting that audio if you don't want to use a USB mic. Let's plug that back in, shall we, for the next con. Now, the next con could be a major con for some people. Blurry background. Because this is a fixed lens, this is the amount of blur that you're going to get. You can't turn it up, you can't turn it down. This is just how it is. So if you're happy with this level of background blur, then this is all good. You can also improve it by kind of creating more distance between yourself and the background. Let's do that actually now. Okay, so I've moved the camera as far back to the wall as possible, and this is one way how you can increase that background blur. Now, as I've mentioned, you're not going to get a super duper amount of background blur, but this is the way of doing it, just decreasing the amount of space between you and the camera, and then increasing the distance between you and the background. That will give you a little bit more background blur. But what do you think? Is this enough for you? Okay, just a quick angle change up slightly to show you a mode which I think is really good and often overlooked. A lot of people want to buy a Pocket 3 or any other type of camera to do YouTube work, and maybe you're going to be reviewing a product, or maybe you're showing off a business product. And what people will do is they will talk about a product, they'll put it up to camera, and what you'll notice is it's still me that's in focus. This product is out of focus. You can't really read the logo on there, you can't really read nothing on there, you know, it's divvying between me and the microphone. The focus is not that great. This product showcase mode is very good. Let me switch over and put it on and I'll explain more. Okay, so we now have the product showcase mode turned on, and you can tell because there's a little flower icon on the screen. Now, let's say I'm reviewing this microphone and I put it in front of the camera like this. What you'll notice is that I go out of focus and the focus goes onto the microphone here, so we can see the detail on this microphone. So if I sit back, I'll come back into focus. But again, when I want to talk about the product, this is going to be the thing that is in focus, and I can put this right up to camera. Now, a lot of other cameras will require you to cover your face so the face detection goes off. So this is an overlooked feature. It means you don't need another camera person to sit there and focus in on you. You can just say, bam, look at the Studio Series SL600 microphone. Look at that, detail, talk about that, bring it back, and you know everything is in focus the way it's supposed to be. That's the product showcase feature. But other than that, they are all of my pros and cons. What do you think about the Pocket 3? Could you see yourself using this as a studio camera? Now, if you want to see an editing tutorial, how you can best edit the footage coming from your Pocket 3, let me know in the comment section below. I'm debating whether I should make that video, but I know on the last video that you can see by clicking around here, where we went through all of the settings of the Pocket 3, and if you haven't watched that, definitely watch that. It's the best way to get the most cinematic looking footage coming from your Pocket 3. A lot of people said, how do I edit and what editing software do I use? I tend to use Final Cut, but I can show you in Premiere, iMovie, and some others as well. And I can show you the best ways to edit that footage. So if you want to see that, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.